Story 1. GF cheated? Or was it sexual assault? Does it matter? My GF of 2.5 years came to me the morning after a party in tears and told me something bad happened last night. She barely remembered the encounter. She thought it was just a kiss, and she thought she said, "Stop, I have a boyfriend." She was blackout drunk. A common excuse in cheating scenarios, I am sure. But in her case, you'll just have to trust me. She was blackout. She blacks out easily and has a history of trouble controlling her alcohol consumption. She couldn't even remember where it happened, how they got there, or any details. All she remembers is a flash memory of his face being close to hers and then a flash memory of walking home. I told her to call the guy and get more details. I was present for the phone call. He says that it went farther than that. He said he had his hands down her pants, performed oral sex on her. He claims she, Bryfly, performed oral sex on him too. But he was less sure about that, which I thought was fishy. He said that he got up to put a condom on and when he came back she looked super uncomfortable and said that she wanted to leave, which she did. He said she was only in the house for about 20 to 30 minutes before leaving, and it's safe to say they weren't hooking up the whole time, so whatever happened was brief. Let me be clear. They did not get drunk together. She was with her girlfriends, and was already blackout drunk before this guy even started pursuing her. I talked to her friends that were with her and they confirmed she was super drunk. He offered to walk her home at the end of the night and I guess she said yes. Where were her friends? It was a long walk home, about 45 minutes in the dark, and she remembers none of this. Instead of taking her home, he took her to another friend's house, to a couch. When she first told me, she assumed they had taken a cab. Validating her claims of not remembering anything. As for this other guy, he has known my girlfriend for years, has tried to hook up with her in the past before we were together, and she shot him down. I spoke to a therapist, and she told me that if a woman has known a guy for 10 years, and wanted to hook up with him, it most likely would have happened already. The fact that she has never allowed his advances in a sober state, even when she was single, is a pretty good indicator that she has no romantic interest in the guy. Anyways, this happened 5 months ago. My girlfriend immediately quit drinking and has been sober since, with no intentions of ever drinking again. She is seeing a counselor to deal with her childhood traumas, which are significant, and her boundaries with men. She is so goddamn sorry and remorseful and adamant that we are meant to be together. Some part of me almost trusts her more due to the fact that she immediately confessed even though I would have never found out about it. She showed me all the conversations he had with this guy. There was nothing planned and no flirting or texting or anything. She's also very adamant that she had no intention of hooking up with this guy. I've pushed her, poked holes in her story, but she will no waver. She says it was not consensual and had no intention of this happening. She is also a very attractive woman, and I'm trying to be sensitive to the fact that I will never know what it's like to be a woman of her position, constantly being pursued and hit on by men. Our therapist, her friends, and my gut is telling me this is borderline sexual assault. But I keep being haunted by the guy's claim of her performing brief oral sex on him. That would classify as consent, wouldn't it? Or are all the actions null and void when a woman is legitimately in a blackout? I know the real problem here is my girlfriend's relationship with alcohol. I know that. I don't think she's a cheater or a liar, I think she is an alcoholic. But she has addressed that. She has totally stopped drinking cold turkey to prove to me that I am the most important thing to her. And honestly, if something this bad hadn't happened, I don't know if she would have ever stopped drinking. So maybe it's a blessing in disguise. I so badly want to forget about it. I want to be with her, but my ego is hurt. She is a special woman and we are compatible in so many ways. I've told my family and some close friends about what happened and everyone thinks I should forgive her because everyone thinks she is a great girl. To me that also speaks volumes of her character. So many people say, once a cheater, always a cheater, and maybe that is true for someone who intentionally lies, deceives, and cheats. But what about a situation like this? Blackout drunk. Immediate confession. No sex. Could this not be viewed as a mistake? I am a forgiving person. I am not a black and white guy. But my God, the pain is real. Is she a cheater, a victim, or both? Story 2. Hiding things. Hi. So me and my partner have been together for 3 years now and have had what has seemed to be a very close relationship and tell each other everything. On Saturday she went out with her friends on a night out. She was staying at her friend's house after us didn't have money to get taxi to get home. For context, this friend has a boyfriend who in my opinion doesn't care about. So long story short, it gets to 4 a.m. and she calls me as she's back in bed at her friend's and begins to tell me about her night. I had stayed up to make sure she got back safe as it was around a 30-minute walk from the club to her friends, walking at a decent pace. She tells me a little about her night and then we go to sleep on the phone. The next day I tried to speak to her about a potential issue we had, which in my opinion she completely dramatized, even though I had been calm and explained that I was just trying to fix a clear issue we have. She cancels our plans for that day and then at night we are on the phone, with her just being nasty. She then tells me, I also deliberately didn't tell you that I walked home with a boy I didn't know last night from the club, with her excuse being, I knew you'd ask questions and I couldn't be bothered. We had been on the phone when she was in bed that night, which would have been just after this had happened. She also openly admitted that she deliberately hid this from me. I ask about the situation and she refuses to give many details other than that her and her friend had left the club and gone to get food. Her friend then sees 2 boys. One she recognizes, one she doesn't know. She says to the one she recognizes and she remembers him from a class and then from there they speak. Then they start walking. Instead of all walking together, the friend, bearing in mind this girl has a boyfriend, and the boy she recognized walk ahead and my girlfriend and this random boy neither of them know walk behind and talk themselves for this long walk. I don't see any reason for this as it's not as if the friend and the boy would be flirting as she has a boyfriend, so why didn't all 4 of them walk together? Even if this friend was cheating, why would they not all walk together and why would my GF be walking herself with a guy she didn't know when she was meant to be with her friend? Of course, this being a question anyone would ask. I ask my girlfriend why she was walking alone with a guy she didn't know at 4 a.m. when she was staying at her friend's and they could all have walked together. There was no reason to be walking and talking with a guy she didn't know separately as her and her friend were in relationships and the girl also barely knew the guy from the class. After asking this, she tells me she's not telling me why she was by herself with him the full way. Told me that every time I ask she isn't seeing me for a week. And once it gets to 3 weeks of me asking and her not seeing me, she would be done. And set a reminder on her phone for the done date. She also then said if I am going to continue to want to know that, then we are done. She deliberately hid this from me in the first place. I can't see any reason that they would be walking separately, especially since my GF would have been left with someone she didn't know, and all this stuff about not telling me. She makes it seem like I am the one in the wrong. And this is why I think she dramatized the issue I tried to fix and make it out as if I said something I very clearly didn't. I'm not stupid and I know this isn't right, but everything open to interpretation. I've told my friends and they think I am an idiot for still being with her. Her friend of course is acting like she's done nothing wrong, and maybe convincing her that they didn't. But this friend is the last person I'd want to be in a relationship with the things she says. Story 3. Not sure where my girlfriend stands with her ex. Hello everyone, I'm looking for some insight into my current situation. I've been dating this girl for a few months so far. We really seem to have good chemistry and get along quite well. My problem is, she often mentions her ex-boyfriend and is excited to learn about his personal life through her friends. At the same time, she is hesitant to go to places where he is expected to be at. From what I figured out, he hurt her quite a bit, a really long time ago, but he was her first. I know, most of you will say sit her down and have a deep conversation with her. I already did that. She said that he isn't important to her at all and that she doesn't wish to reunite with him ever again. However, she recently seems to be really interested in this one place that he tends to be at. What kind of affected all of this too is that I have really learned a lot about their relationship, sadly even the details. I wanted to learn a bit about what was happening between them to see what she likes or dislikes so that I have something to start with, but she told me a bit too much. The good thing is, when I confront her about a problem, she really fixes it quickly. I'm afraid that I will get hurt with time. And I really don't know what to do, but I like this girl a lot. Another issue that really scares me is that this girl can't express her feelings to me through words, and she isn't really expressing them as much through deeds. I sincerely hope that someone more experienced can give me some insight, because I have never been dealing with a situation like this. Thank you in advance.